Hey, my name is Jedley, and this is another STEM is Family Fun experiment. And joining me right now is our amazing intern, Monica Rivera Sosa. Hey, Monica, how are you?
Hey, Jed, I'm doing so good. I'm so excited to get started. This is going to be an awesome experiment.
And joining us once again from the beautiful city of San Diego in California, she is a director of education for the San Diego Children's Discovery Museum. Please welcome back Whitney Raser. Hey, Whitney, how are you?
Hi, Fred. Hi, Monica. Hi, Reddy. So excited to be back with you guys.
We had such a great time in your first visit to the show, the Rainbow Bridge. I had so much fun. I have like little rainbow bridges hanging up in all my windows. It's like driving my wife crazy. What are we going to do today?
Today, we're going to get to do another STEM experiment. So another hands-on opportunity to learn all about science. We're going to do some more chemistry. We're going to do a balloon blow up.
You know what? I always have trouble blowing up balloons because I don't know. It's like and nothing. So
well, this experiment will be perfect for you, Jed, because you won't even have to use any of your own air to blow up the balloon.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I get to be almost 100 years old. It is really tough blowing up balloons. Now, are you going to ask us questions like you did last time? Because I felt wicked smart, as we say here in Boston.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you some questions along the way. So, because great scientists, whenever they are exploring something, they're always thinking about what is happening and why. And that's why you do experiments, is to ask questions and figure out the answers to them. So we're going to get to do another experiment together today. And I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're going to get to make some predictions or hypotheses or smart guesses along the way too.
Awesome. Monica, she called us like great scientists. That's really cool.
That's the only time anyone will ever call me a scientist, so I'm taking advantage of it.
Not true. People are scientists in everyday life. So you guys, I bet if you cook at home, that's being a scientist. Anytime you use a tool, that's being a scientist. And tools can be really simple too, like pencils, scissors. Those are tools that you use to help yourself. So people are scientists all the time.
I never knew when I was making arroz con gandules, I was a scientist.
Yes.
All right. So show me how we can blow up a balloon, but ask me questions if you want.
Okay, amazing. So we're going to need a couple of things. So for people listening at home, these are sort of some of the things you can gather. Again, this is a really easy experiment that you can do just in the comfort of your own home. So the first thing I'm going to need is a plastic bottle. This can be a water bottle. We're using a soda bottle today. Hopefully you use reusable bottles, but this is a great way to recycle bottles and do something cool. So we're going to do an empty plastic bottle. And then you're also going to need some white vinegar. Hopefully you have that in your kitchen, because like I said, people are scientists all the time if you're doing some cooking, vinegar at home, and also some baking soda. And then you'll also need a balloon. It can be one of just those easy balloons that you find at a store. It doesn't need to be the fancy sparkling ones. It actually probably works best if it's just like a rubber balloon that's a little stretchy. On my balloon, I did draw a special design. So if you want, you can also decorate your balloon any way you want before you use it. So we're going to use all these things to do an experiment, and we're going to see if we can create a chemical reaction while we're doing this. So this is one that goes pretty fast, but the first thing you're going to do is you're going to measure out about 1/3 of a cup of vinegar into another cup, and you're just going to pour it into your plastic bottle. That one part's pretty easy, but if you're a little younger at home, you might want a grown-up to help you kind of pour things if you're still working on that. But for our really little friends, this is actually a really great way to practice some of their fine motor skills too. So we'll pour that vinegar into the plastic bottle. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our special balloon. I have a special tool, like I was saying before, tools are something scientists use. I have a funnel, which is going to make this a little bit easier for me. You don't need to have a funnel at home to do this experiment. It's just going to make it a little easier for me here. So I'm going to take my funnel and I'm going to be putting it into the balloon. And then I'm going to scoop 2 teaspoons of baking soda into the funnel so that it just drops right into the balloon. Now, I have a question for you. I have 2 questions actually before we move on to the final part of our experiment. The first thing that I'm wondering, Jed and Monica, is why do you think we're using these 2 different materials? Why are we using vinegar and baking soda? What do you think is important about those? Do you know anything about vinegar or about baking soda?
Well, I know vinegar has a very specific smell. And it tastes really good when my wife makes a certain steak that she loves from Puerto Rico.
That's true. It does have a really specific smell in it, right? It's kind of like a tangy smell. Smells, you can definitely, when you smell vinegar, you know it's vinegar. That's going to be important, Jed, to keep in your mind for later. Monica, anything that you know is important about these?
Well, I'm a baker, so I
Mhm.
use baking soda, and I know it's like it helps with the rising agent, and I know it's really good for making cookies. So that's all I really know. And vinegar, all I know is that I wouldn't put it in my cookies.
Great. Wait, you would probably not usually mix these two things together, right? When you're doing baking, you would not put them in your cookies. Gross. It would smell bad, like Jed said. But what we are actually going to do is we're going to get to mix these two things together. So my question for you all is, knowing what you know about baking soda and knowing what you know about vinegar, do you have any predictions or hypotheses, or like we said, a smart guess about what might happen when we mix these two items together?
I think if I was doing it, I'd make a mess.
The mess might happen. Yep, Monica, I think that's from you. Any smart predictions, smart guesses, or hypotheses?
I couldn't tell you. I think it's gonna smell really badly wherever you are, though.
Might smell, it does have, there is an interesting scent going on in the room that I'm in right now. It does smell very vinegary. Okay, well, this is the fun part about science. Now we get to find out. So we're going to take the bottle, and then you're going to take your balloon. It still is holding that baking soda in there. So that big part of the balloon is down and the little narrow part is up. And you're just going to stretch that small part that usually, Jed, you would use to like blow up, right? You're going to stretch that part over the top of the bottle and let that part of the balloon hang. And then now I want you to watch what happens. We're going to lift up the balloon, and when we do, the baking soda is going to fall into the vinegar, and let's see what happens next. Whoa!
Whoa.
Can you see what's happening?
I can. Yeah. It's like amazing. It's like all this air, but get pushed out
Yes.
of the bottle.
Yeah, and your balloon is getting bigger, right? I didn't have to blow it up. It's there. I'm ready for a party. I have my birthday party balloon going. I'm ready for it to go because it's all bubbling and blowing up into the top of the balloon. Isn't that cool?
That is way cool. Yeah.
So I wanted, do you guys know why this might have happened?
Maybe there's something like Monica said, baking soda makes cake rises, and then maybe the vinegar like excites that part of the baking soda and it like parties.
Yes, that's a great way of talking about it. You guys are right. So the baking soda is a special kind of material. So when you have a chemical reaction, you often have something called an acid and a base. And so these are two kind of friends that like to work together. The acid is something that has some, part of it is made up of something called hydrogen. And the acid is really friendly and it always likes to share. So it likes to give away part of its hydrogen to other friends in a chemical reaction. A base really likes to get things. So the base loves to get those hydrogen ions. And when it does, a chemical reaction happens. So like you were saying, Monica, in this experiment, the baking soda was the base and the vinegar was the acid. And so when they got mixed together, they worked together, they exchanged those hydrogen ions to have a chemical reaction. And when they did, the reaction was to start bubbling, to start getting bigger, to start doing that rising that you see with baking soda and baking sometimes. But the air had nowhere to go. It couldn't go out of the top of the bottle. So it went into the balloon instead. So if I wanted to, I could even take this off and tie off the balloon, and then I would have a special chemistry balloon that I could have inflated throughout the day. But so it's a pretty cool experiment to do at home, to have a really quick chemical reaction response.
Yeah. Now so other than making a mess if you didn't put the balloon on right, it seems like this is a pretty safe experiment to do because you had an idea what was going to happen when you mix the baking soda and the vinegar. If there are kids out there and they're thinking, well, my mom has baking soda and she has vinegar, and then she has this other stuff over here, and you wouldn't recommend they just start pouring stuff and mixing stuff together.
No, that's a really great point, Chad. So I would always recommend asking your grown-up before you try to do any kind of chemical reactions on your own. But one great chemical reaction that you can do with your grown-up is something like baking, like Monica said that she does. So baking is actually a chemical reaction that happens between the ingredients you mix together. And when you heat it up or when you put it in the oven, you'll see a reaction. So if you ever wanted to bake something with your grown-up or cook something else with your grown-up, that's another chemical reaction you could do at home too.
Wow. really, really cool. Hey, Monica, I'm kind of shy. Can you ask Whitney like what kind of fun things we can find on the website for the San Diego Children's Discovery Museum?
Absolutely, Whitney. We've talked about this before, but I'm really excited to one day be able to go to the San Diego Children's Museum. So, what sort of things can we find on the website, in person, other than just these cool experiments?
That's a great question. So we really love hands-on learning. We love STEM. We love integrating play into STEM. So anyone who comes here, there's lots of different hands-on programs and experiences. But if you're not in San Diego and you still want to check things out, you can't make it quite up to where we are in Escondido. You can go on our website at sdcdm.org, or you can find us on Instagram at sdcdm320. And we have all kinds of free programming that we put out every week. So we've got different stream activities that you can do at home. So experiments just like we did here. There's also special videos you can watch that are really interactive. There's music videos and songs, and they teach different STEM concepts in really fun ways.
Wow. And Escondido. I love that name. It's like we can make a song out of it.
You could.
Well, it means hidden in Spanish.
Yep, the Hidden Valley is what we're called. So yep, we're the Hidden Valley in North County, San Diego.
I am learning so many things today. We've had a great time blowing up a balloon without blowing up a balloon. It's like magical. It's so cool. Our guest has been Whitney Raser. She's the director of education at the San Diego Children's Discovery Museum in Escondido. Hey, thank you so much for being with us, Whitney.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun.